1. The Savior will return to the earth in power and great glory to reign personally during a millennium of righteousness and peace. 2. At the time of his coming, there will be a destruction of the wicked and a resurrection of the righteous. 3. No one knows the time of his coming.
One of our brethren some years ago spoke of the payment of tithing as fire insurance. Nonetheless, the word of the Lord is clear that those who do not keep the commandments and observe the laws of God shall be burned at the time of his coming. For that shall be a day of judgment, a day of sifting, a day of separating the good from the evil. I would venture a personal opinion that no event has occurred in all the history of the earth as dreadful as will be the day of the second coming, as fraught with the destructive forces of nature, as consequential for the nations of the earth, as terrible for the wicked, and as wonderful for the righteous.
We do not say that all of the saints will be spared and saved from the coming day of desolation, from the atomic holocausts that surely shall be.
In the coming day, Jesus Christ will return to the earth as the Millennial Messiah, or the second coming.
Travis went good song. So, you guys enjoy your 3-day break of no talking about the end of the universe with signs in the heavens. Joseph Smith translation, Revelation chapter 12, verse 1, is added to designate prophecy and revelation. Sign in the heaven, revelation, giving you the time and the likeness of things on the earth. The prophecy, the prediction of the future. And so the prophets lied to you about the definition of a prophet. A prophet is not a title alone. A prophet is an accomplishment. You have proven yourself by predicting the future and the prophecies coming to pass. That's why the Bible stories tell you about false prophets whose predictions of the future don't come to pass. Or you can be a Christian and force history to prove your self-fulfilling prophecies of the past. Dumb. All wrong, abominable, and corrupt. Verse 19, Joseph Smith history, first vision. And so, yeah, it's unfortunate that I have to keep repeating sources and information from Mormons because of YouTube's abuse on me to silence my channel when I should literally be getting hundreds of thousands of views per video. My content is unique, nobody's heard of it before, and so people are at least curious. And so obviously there's going to be people that hate it and want to have me murdered to prove the Christian Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints true. Right, Mormons? Mormons are incapable of being good. They've been lied and deceived. And they were born that way. And instead of pulling out, thinking for themselves, they have to be compelled in all things. And so this is what we're talking about today. The 21st of Kislev, 22nd of December 2024. There was an actual historical event that occurred in 128 BCE. This is when the Maccabees, Jewish Maccabees, had previously retaken their temple back from the Greeks and set it in order. Doctrine and Covenants 85 verse 7. and began to purge the Greek abominations of the forbidden rituals on their altar and the prostitution of women, paying to have sex with women in the temple. Right, Mormons? It's not of God, it's of the devil. And that's how deceived Mormons have become. The church does it, so it's obviously good and righteous. And Mormons ignore the laws of the land. Well, it doesn't apply to us, we're a religion. I'm righteous because I'm Mormon. And so it's okay to cyber terrorize Travis, give him death threats, pretend to be FLDS members. I don't even think they have computers. Brigham Young said computers were of the devil. I've got so many funny stories about this church alone. I don't need to go after the LDS church. But I should do that video for you one of these days, even if we ever get to Zion, it becomes one there. Because FLDS are also the audience that I'm trying to save. Those of you who have left the church, I'm trying to save you too. You think you're safe because you left the church. You're not safe. They're still going to murder you. You don't understand this. You've had the Book of Mormon, you read it, you don't believe it's true, but this church behaves exactly like all the villains in the Book of Mormon. And that's why you need to go back and check your Book of Mormon again to see how the leaders of this church, and thus Mormons, who emulate the leaders of the church, are behaving towards you. And so you kind of need to use your Book of Mormon to defend yourself against this church. Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon does not belong to this church. They are literally the enemy. And they're seeking to murder you. So, there was the Temple of the Samaritans, which was the territory of the Danites. And before Assyria came in and took the northern tribes away and replaced them with Assyrians, and Assyrians bred with the poor left behind in northern Israel and became Samaritans. Thus, it's talking about the same location, whether it's the Shechemites where Dinah gets raped, or Jesus offers sacrifices on an altar on that same location, whether it's the Samaritan location for where Noah's Ark landed. It's all the same place. That's the 27th or the 28th of December, when the Samaritans claimed that Noah's Ark landed on the Mount Ephraim. And that's what it was called, it was Mount Ephraim. And so yes, Ephraim was the territory, but there was a Danite occupation. Nonetheless, the Maccabean destroyed it. Just get that over with before I use too many associative memory tangents and forget to mention it, requiring you to go back to the beginning where I show this picture and read it. And as I have run the test, as everybody should have, and I find that prophecy after prophecy, revelation after revelation is true, I am just literally standing all amazed of either how blatantly evil Brigham Young's Danites are still to this day, or incredibly stupid that in their stupidity they end up fulfilling the prophecies of the villains. It's wild. I know the members of the 70 have no clue about my information, and this is where the Committee for Strengthening Church Members comes from, the 70, given their orders by the leadership to attack other Mormons for not being perfect. Which I kind of wonder why they haven't gone after the Still Mormon channel, who's exposing that the church has been lying to us about Joseph Smith being involved with polygamy. Because despite his revealing, the church is still pushing the narrative that Joseph Smith was polygamist. And recently, well, with the Saints publication, the New Church History, now say that it's worse than just polygamy, that it was also adultery that the church confesses that Joseph was involved in. And no, that was Brigham and his Danites who were doing this as part of their secret combination to frame and blame Joseph and have him murdered in the end, and steal his religion, turn it Christian, steal the Book of Mormon, call it another testament of Jesus Christ, which they'd been doing in secret, going on their missions, lying to people. And so this same practice of the Danites is still being practiced by this church today. Missionaries go out and lie. Are people really that illiterate? Are people really unable to read and comprehend what they read? Apparently the answer was yes, and is no longer yes. Right there in the beginning of the Book of Mormon. Yea, I make a record in the language of my father, which consists of the learning of the Jews. Jews are not Christians. It's a completely different religion and a completely different concept of a Christ. And so the Book of Mormon, as Joseph Smith is told in section 3, verse 16, Book of Mormon teaches about the Jewish Christ, not the Christian Christ. Just like the Bible teaches about the Jewish Christ, not Jesus Christ. This is so plain and precious, but because of Christianity, who lie and deny and enforce their lies and denials with threats of violence and murder, just like the Danites, you've got over 4 billion people on the earth today who are illiterate, who are incapable of distinguishing at least the Old Testament as Jewish. But because the New Testament, the Jews don't want it because it's been tampered with Christianity and turned into literal histories. Just so frustrating. All the New Testament scriptures were written by Jews. They're not supposed to be New Testaments. They're not supposed to be Old Testaments. It's not about Jesus. It's not literal history. None of it is. Thus, neither is the Book of Mormon. But notice that it starts you off pre-Babylonian captivity, well, during Babylonian captivity. It's occupation first, and then 11 years later it would be Babylonian captivity. And so if you're going to call this literal history, we've got some explaining to do. How is Nephi able to do what he does? 11 years from this year till Babylon comes and destroys Jerusalem and takes hostages and then rapes the women to turn them into Babylonians. Nephi is born this first year. So at the very most, he's 10 years old. Most likely 9. And he goes back to Jerusalem, impersonates a full-grown adult who's a drunk, and is able to lift a very heavy sword to smite off the head of Laban, who threatened to murder them. And so he's just following Deuteronomy 19, the law of the Jews. Everybody misses that. I mean, seriously? Nobody thinks. There's a reason why these stories are written as stories of prophecy and revelation and not literal history. Thus the Liahona? No, it doesn't exist. Are you kidding me? It's a symbolism for getting inspiration and producing the results of the inspiration and telling you you need to be good because that will produce good results. If you're bad, you're going to be sunk in the sea. No partying. No dancing and partying. Let's hear it for the boy. Didn't we just have that anniversary the other month or year? 7 degrees of bacon. I want bacon. And so Mormons are clueless that the date of this first year is given to us in verses 8 through 10. 23rd September 2017. Mormons have to lie and deny to say this is literal history. And in so doing, they deny the power of prophecy, revelation, seership, and translation. And sure enough, they do. They don't even, the leaders don't use the title of translator. All Mormons just assume Nelson's a translator so that they can attack people like me who just demonstrated yet again this morning I am the foremost Egyptologist. Take that, all you PhDs. It's real simple. Because I saw the news clip, so I went to Luxor, saw the Egyptian spelling in hieroglyphs, went, oh, Bethlehem. Easy. And so yes, that's why I gave you the announcement in a couple of videos last several days, that if we can get to Zion and not be utterly destroyed as Mormons want to be, that's the priority project after we get Zion built, and that we all are taken care of, and then I can then get to the projects that I have, and that will be my top priority, mixed with making the whole history of the latter days of Mormons, of the world and nations and stuff, so that we can preserve truth rather than all the falsehood that's going around. It's mostly by Christians who are trying to revise history to show how Jesus is true. See, it's in the Wikipedia and it's on AI Google search. So it's true. But yeah, do a whole lesson manual and lexicon and translations and all that of Egyptian. Just spend the rest of my days doing that and all these other projects that are piled up. And so, yep, that was awesome to get the final book of my collection for the latter days from the Egyptian calendar. And so yeah, obviously it will be volumes of works, not some little pamphlet claiming to be a decipherment of Paleo-Hebrew. How did anybody fall for that? Dear God. William Foxwell Albright. I'm sure you didn't know. Okay, so let's show you how stupid the Danites are. Section 117 was put out with Section 85. And just mind-boggling. How could they have been so stupid? And like I said, I can do this with every single Mormon back then, with over thousands of members, and do one on each one of them. And so, yes, I could do one on Newell K. Whitney, W.W. Phelps from Section 85, and the actual bishop that Joseph appointed, Warren Parrish. Am I getting that right? Whoever he is. And so, verse 11, you now see the evil of the Danites. This is a forged document by them. It was written and put in Brigham Young's final Doctrine and Covenants that the FLDS Church also has in their possession. And so it says, "Let my servant Newell K. Whitney be ashamed of the Nicolaitan band." Notice how Bruce R. McConkie didn't decode it? He further, in verse 8, failed to decode Adam-on-Diamond and the plains of Olaha Shinehah. Why, Bruce? Why didn't you do it? And so there you see that Adam-on-Diamond is not supposed to be the actual name. But this church, when they purchased it, put up the sign, Adam-on-Diamond. They designated the name because they claim that this is literal history by Joseph. No. It's a Danite code. because that's how Joseph Smith did coding in his 1835 Doctrine and Covenants. And you can go to the Wikipedia page on the Doctrine and Covenants, and it tells you, it's actually a list of codes in the Doctrine and Covenants Wikipedia page, so that you see that Shinehaw is Kirtland. And it doesn't seem to indicate what Olaha is, but if Kirtland is Shinehaw, therefore Olaha is something similar in Kirtland. But that's how they knew to put Shinehaw in there, and they added Olaha. And so Adam-on-Diamond is their secret headquarters as a code for the latter-day plot to coup American government. And Jesus Christ is going to be given the keys from Lucifer directly to coup the government. So, as you pay attention to the church and their involvement with government of the United States of America, then you begin to understand what they're doing. They're the enemy. And so, yeah, we'll get to the news and what the church is up to at the same time. At the end, we're switching it up this time. Switching it up so that more people can complain. You're not doing your normal process, Travis. I have people who come to my channel and they're supposed to read the pictures. Read the text that I put in at the beginning. And then they complain, I don't hear anything. There's no volume. Why can't you narrate this? SNL this morning, which was from last night, but this is when I get to watch it. Until YouTube is taken over by Matt Gaetz. And all it has is child porn. Oh, dear God. And so if you didn't know 1838, Thomas B. Marsh was told by the Danites that Joseph Smith is the leader of the Danites. And you need to follow him, them, or you're going to be murdered. These Danites were threatening Mormons to deny the church and join Joseph, which is AKA Brigham Young, or be murdered, to go around with them to murder their neighbors, steal the property, and I didn't get to that part yet, in verse 11. And then burn their homes down. And yet, here, the year before Brigham Young dies, he writes this, puts it in, because it's got Brigham Young's fingerprints all over it. It's linguistic fingerprint of Brigham Young. There are ways to find out, and one of the test ways is certain wording, and let my is the clue that it's Brigham, and it's a forged document. I ran the test. It is wild that nobody else caught on to that. But there's no professional scientists in this church. Let me explain why. And so it's saying that Noah K. Whitney should be ashamed of being a part of the Danites and of all their secret abominations. Joseph Smith is being told by the Danites as not being the leader of the Danites, and yet he went to Liberty Jail because Thomas B. Marsh was told by the Danites that Joseph Smith is the leader of the Danites. And for those of you who left the church because you're upset that Joseph Smith is a polygamist and an adulterer, oops, who's the Nicolaitan band from Revelation? As understood by Christians. That's why it was used here, by Danites. Because the Danites were doing this. They say they're doing it. What did the Nicolaitan band do, according to Christians? It wasn't just polygamy. See, polygamy involves taking responsibility for multiple wives, who likewise consent to being a multiple wife. No, the Nicolaitan band were far worse than that, just like the Danites were. They passed around their wives to be raped by others in their band. They would rape their neighbors' wives. This is the evil of the Danites. And so yes, this sexual abuse is all over the news lately for Utah by Mormons. And so the raping of little girls, yep, the Danites. If Expo Nevermos actually did their research, they would have found the Book of Sealings of Brigham Young, none of which was by Joseph Smith, because they weren't begun until 1846 in the undedicated Nauvoo Temple. They kept the documents of all their recorded sealings. And so sure enough, Willard Richards, the one who murdered Joseph Smith, shot him in the back, dumped him out the window, and then came back over Hiram's body and shot him again. John Taylor shot him the first time wrestling for my third great-grandfather's single-shot pistol. Is the one who revised Joseph Smith's 1838 history to put the wrong name of the church and to change it to Moroni. Was also the one who had himself sealed to sisters who were 14 and 16 years of age. And they blame Joseph? Really? It's just abominable who these Danites are and the depths of evil, and then to just frame and blame somebody else. That's the Mormons today. The Mormons who posed as FLDS members to threaten me. And leaked, oops, a Janice Cat Perry song, huh? You think I'm going to fall for that one, huh? Again, it shows they're stupid. This was a major blunder to put this and Section 85 in at the same time. But I guess it worked because Section 85 was the big scandal that everybody focused on, so that they didn't keep reading to Section 117. See, every Mormon who were converted by the Danites should have read this and went, what? You guys told me Joseph Smith was the leader of this band. Now I'm reading that he's not? You lied to me? The extermination order, because of Thomas B. Marsh, was wrong? It's you guys who are the threat? And you lured me here into this valley desert? And you're calling it the mountains of Ephraim? exactly how evil this church is. And so, Babylon, we bid thee farewell. We're going to the mountains of Ephraim to dwell. The Danites call the United States of America Babylon. That's not Joseph Smith. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, nope, nope. And so, starting at the end of the list of 314 designations for Babylon, we start in section 133. This is the call out to you. If and only after the fall of this church, not the death of Nelson, the fall of this church. Because if Nelson dies, Oaks takes over. Church still exists. Still got a problem. Even though if I decided to continue to do videos under Oaks, I'd be busting up so much. Just from today, this morning. Those were cameraman errors. Those were not part of his talks. And I got them. Oh my God. And so the middle clip on that, where he does this thing, it's because of my video about conference, that priesthood meeting, exposing that, giving the Heil Hitler to the youth choir. And so word got back to him, and thus he did this. He's holding it back. He was gonna do it again. But that Strengthening Church Members Committee leaked it to him. Travis is doing the video clip of you giving the Heil Hitler. You do it, I expose it. Nonetheless. And so I got him again in that other conference with the third clip. I've got Oaks' whole collection. I'm ready to go through them and pull out the clips, as I've already got a whole bunch of them, thanks to the porn one recently. I've had the meme forever. Well, not forever. No, not that one. His saying that women are not authorized to have priesthood office. But yeah, it was. I got an email of the meme about Oaks as he's got his arm around two immodest prostitutes of jailbait age. Calling them prostitutes as the meme. And so yeah, but the latter days are over. The 2nd of January is it. I have to stop. If there's going to be no fruit, I have to stop. But the problem is if there is no fruit, we're all doomed. If this church wins and gets their kingdom restored, we're doomed. If there is no nuclear destruction on Christmas, we're doomed either way. We have to get to Zion. This church has to fall. The transfer must be made publicly known to Mormons that it's given to me. Because when the destruction comes, it's not an if. It's just when it will come. We're all doomed. There will be no Zion. Mormons don't know how to build it. Mormons have been purposely made dumb to be compelled in all things what the prophet tells them to. And even then they don't even obey him. They just enforce it on other people to obey. I saw a YouTube video by a cute little girl talking about something that Nelson had said, and that we need to change. You need to change. Don't tell me I need to change. But that's a common Danite thing. It's called judges. Danites. Judges. These Danites are very judgmental. They impose their morality on others. Right religious freedom movement? That's taking away agency. That's Lucifer's plan of happiness. Every Mormon knows it, and yet there's a disconnect. They know they don't want to follow Lucifer. They know that Hitler is not the chosen one. You just pulled a projection, you dumbass. They know they have to be good and love other people, but because of the disconnect, they think that whatever they do is automatically good, like the prophets as a title. Everything they say is a prophecy because they're the title of a prophet. That's how the prophets have screwed up Mormons. And so Mormons see Babylon and go, oh yeah, the United States, they're being mean. It's a good thing we got Trump. He'll give us back our kingdom. The devil never supports his own. That's why. You're being used until they no longer need to use you. And then you're dead. Don't even listen to the law of sacrifice. You don't pay attention what they're asking you to do. And you forget because you're too young and you didn't go through the temple when you promised, covenant and promise, to kill yourselves for violating the church. You don't get it. So this shout out is after the fall and the transfer to me. If those don't happen, I can't fulfill prophecy. That's why I'm deeply concerned. And so, go ye out from among the nations, even from Babylon, from the midst of wickedness, which is spiritual Babylon. The great and abominable church. This call out is for you, Mormons. Come out of the great and abominable church. Come to Zion, the church of the Lamb. This is after the fall. And so yes, the discussion about missionaries, there it is. Missionaries have to come home, but they're not going to come home because of the time frame we're under. Missionaries are going to have to come straight to Zion from their missions. And so thus, the Brigham Young myth that those who serve missions or who do a sacrifice of good to save other lives go straight to the celestial kingdom along with little children. It's not what Joseph Smith meant. Zion. And so, yes, those who are on your missions, mission president will be in charge of getting you to Zion, whereas everybody else in the world, bishops or stake presidents or counselors or an elders quorum president or members of the high council, whoever is in authority who chooses to come. Because if a bishop or stake president chooses not to come, they're not going to bring you. And so somebody else who is wanting to come will be the one to bring it. And I give them authority to do so, as they don't even have authority now. We're using the system that the church set up to help you get to Zion and save your lives. And so those of you who are ex-foes, even those of you who are never-mo's, who are still listening, yes, you can come to Zion too. You've got to follow the law. And it's just one commandment. Love. It's real simple. You come to Zion to give everybody else their agency so that you can have it too. And then you demonstrate that you're loving other people by wanting to help them prosper by giving to the storehouse. Making items for other people at the storehouse. And then you likewise, because of other people giving to the storehouse, everybody can then get what they need and what they want. Real simple economy. It's guaranteed to work as long as we keep wickedness out of it. So, verse 7 of section 133. Go ye out from Babylon, be ye clean, that bear the vessels of the Lord. Temple. Zion is the temple. Setting in order the house of the Lord is the temple. You will live in the temple because you are joint heirs with Christ, getting an inheritance to be a king and a queen over your family, not over other people. Go ye out of Babylon, gather ye out from among the nations. The keys of Moses for the Exodus gathering to Zion. From the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. That's my keys. I've got them. I've demonstrated that I have the keys. In 2020, everything happened. I have the keys. It's me. In case you hadn't caught on with translator. Section 86, verse 3. This is Joseph Smith's parable of the wheat and the tares. Did that video earlier this year too. Behold, verily I say unto you, the field was the world, and the apostles were the sowers of the seed. And we'll liken the seed unto the word. The word is the Book of Mormon. Jewish, not Christian. Wrong interpretation. Sowing tares instead of wheat. That's what the Danites have done. That's what you are doing on behalf of the Danites. They threatened you to believe that Joseph Smith is Christian. They threatened you to believe the Book of Mormon is another testament of Jesus Christ, even though you can read very plain and preciously, pure and preciously, that it's supposed to be Jewish, with a Jewish Christ. In case you hadn't caught on, I probably missed it with my associative memory tangents. Second Nephi chapter 3, verse 5. Joseph Smith and me. Joseph Smith prepares the way for me. I restore and set in order the temple. Real simple, very obvious to any Mormon, so that they can know me by my fruit, and that they can know Nelson by his false fruit, that he's a false prophet. Real simple. And so for Mormons to live in denialism, to live in their faith bubble world, to just reject everything, puts your lives in danger, because they're going to murder you. And so, the apostles are going to fall asleep. And the great persecutor of the church, the apostate, the whore, even Babylon. The church. the great and abominable church. And maketh all the nations to drink of her cup, in whose hearts the enemy, even Satan, sitteth to reign. Nelson, baby name meaning Lucifer, from Mars, the husband of Venus, symbol of the inverted pentagram of Lucifer. Russell Marion, behold, he soweth the tares. Yep, Nelson has sowed his own tares. Everything he says is considered the Word of God. And so all the manuals get changed, regardless of how wrong he is. All his alterations of even the King James Version of Scriptures, chief cornerstone of the cornerstone, yoke yourself to Jesus. Good times, Nelson. I'm not going to miss you. And then his false translations, dear God. God prevail, my hell. He takes advantage of you. They won't teach you translation. You might have taken a little bit of Hebrew as you suppose, but as I just demonstrated with Egyptian today, wrong. Should have trusted Joseph Smith in the King Follett sermon. You didn't. And the tares choke the wheat, both spiritually and literally. Because that is the major conflict that Mormons have growing up if they read. What do you mean we're supposed to have a sustaining vote for the leaders of the church? Where is that? I read in section 107, verse 22, that we're supposed to have a Melchizedek priesthood vote for 3 to be the presidents. And then they can have counselors above and beyond that. Yeah, but they actually physically attack you too. Cyber terrorize you, threaten to murder you, get ordered by the leaders through the Strengthening Church Members Committee to destroy your life. And thus the Mormon husband who lost his job because of a medical eye injury killed himself and his family, and so he was left out of the funeral. Mormons have shunned him. He was betrayed by the church, and the devil never supports his own. He was a failure, and so he's now being treated as a failure, just like the Danites have always done. And drives the church into the desert of what would become Utah, Judah. So again, another situation of, wait a minute, the prophecies about Judah and Judea are about Mormons in this valley, and the state is called Utah, phonetically the same as Judah? Wow, how'd that happen? It's just amazing. Was it because of the enemy defying God, saying, yes, we're fulfilling all evil prophecies, and everybody's going to think that we're Christian and Jesus and blah, 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 and we're good? Or are they really that stupid, and by their stupidity came the fulfillment of the prophecies? That's the dilemma I'm still debating, and I'm tending towards stupid as the 2 Mormons, if not one, on YouTube and then the Gmail demonstrated. They don't believe me that I've been a Mormon my whole life, that I've got associative memory, that I know all things about Mormonism, because they don't. It's just humiliating for them. So, section 64. I've done this video earlier this year. Also, behold, now it is called today, until the coming of me, the Son of Man. That's why it's Son of Man, because he's human. It's the Jewish understanding. It's the Jewish Christ. It's not Jesus, because Jesus is not the Son of Man. For Mormons, it's the Son of Heavenly Father. And if you're FLDS, it's Adam. Still. But Christians say, he's the son of a dove. He's right baby Jesus. Nobody catches on. Nobody sees this, except for Bill Maher, who grew up with a Catholic mom, wasn't it? And a Jewish dad. I think that's what he says. And verily it is a day of sacrifice, and a day for the tithing of my people. Zion. Setting in order the temple, setting in order the sacrifices. The sons of Levi offering a sacrifice in righteousness. And for tithing, he's referring to Malachi. For those who are in Zion will be saved from the burning. But if there's no fall, no transfer of authority that all Mormons will know it's me, there cannot be an Exodus. Cannot be Section 133 given out to all of you. But the burning is coming. George Albert Smith was recorded as saying it's either Christmas or New Year's. And this is where the vote on Friday night gets us to our new war strategy calculations. So we're already at an hour. Are you still enduring to the end of the video? For I am the Lord of hosts, and will not spare any that remain in Babylon. You gotta leave the church, but not just leave the church, because the whole world will descend into war. You have to get to Babylon. Nobody's forcing you. I'm not forcing you. If you're wicked and you still want to pursue the Danite doctrine, no, you're gonna get kicked out. Like I said, and like I demonstrated yet again, I will know if you're trying to deceive me, not just threatening deception, but placating me. Because if you start to placate me, you're going to piss me off. If you threaten me, I'm just going to laugh at you. You have to be sincere. And there are those who have been following me for a while who've demonstrated that they are sincere. Stanford tells me about his studies that he's going through. Idaho chick who comes and goes when she pleases. The guy from 2015. And so others. There are others that are just gone. And I'm not hearing from them. I'm concerned about them. You know, Jasmine, where are you? What happened? Are you dead? You know, Jasmine was awesome. Missionaries came knocking on her door. She wanted to study the church. So she found the Joseph Smith papers. She found section 101 in the 1835 Doctrine and Covenants and went, this doesn't match with section 132 in your current Doctrine and Covenants. And then James, her husband, he was smart enough to recognize when the missionary said, you are a fence sitter in the premortal council in heaven, and that if you join the church, you'll be purged of being black. Yeah, they ain't joining the church. And so their Mormon neighbor who did was giving them problems. He was unable to love James and Jasmine. And then the mission president tried to pressure them, and Jasmine shut him down. She was awesome. I miss them. So yeah, there's a whole bunch going all the way back to 2017 that I lost, who could not endure to the end, who couldn't even get to the starting line. The second wife couldn't make it. And so I've been doing this all by myself, and thus fulfilling prophecy. Couldn't they have written the prophecy to be better on me? You know, like the one king who wanted to curse the house of Israel, and the seer didn't. Because that's not what he was told. And yes, I fulfilled that one too. Scepter of Israel and the Star of Jacob. Fulfilled. Oh, man. You don't see the danger that's coming. Section 35, verse 11. But without faith, not faith alone, you have to believe in the word. You can't just disregard it because it doesn't match your spiritual witness feelings. Shall not anything be shown forth except desolations upon Babylon, the same which was made all nations who drank of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And so, yeah, Babylon is not the world. Did you catch that? Desolations upon Babylon, the same which has made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. None of these Babylons are the world. It's the great and abominable church. And then section 1, to finish it off. Whose substance is that of an idol, which waxeth old, and shall perish in Babylon, even Babylon the Great, which shall fall. None of these were decoded by Bruce R. McConkie for the 1981 edition that had to be revised yet again because of the subtitle Another Testament of Jesus Christ on the Book of Mormon in 82, so that it can be done before the seminary year for my first year of seminary. (1982) when I would turn 13 and be in high school. Right? No, it's not 13. Yeah, 80. Yeah, 13. Weird. Well, no. Now I have to do math. I don't want to do math. I have to see the math. Can't do it in my head. Because that's a left brain thing. Associative memory is right brain. That's, I guess, why I also walked right into deciphering Paleo-Hebrew and thus Egyptian. It's because it's all right brain stuff. Everybody else is trying to use their left brain. Dumbasses. But to do the work is all left brain stuff. Tedious, monotonous. You need a computer that doesn't have algorithms or AI. Because that's how I did it originally. There was no algorithm programs to do it, to buffer the system, trying to say, we think you should do it this way, Travis. No, what are you doing? I mean, seriously, the photo thing. It cannot remember the way I put it. It is incapable. It's stupid, retarded, unintelligent. Because of the programmer who did it. I keep resisting AI and algorithms, and they just keep forcing it on me. I don't want it. It's stupid. It doesn't help me. It's not what I want. They say, no, you're going to have it. We're taking away your agency. Do it. No. And so this, in section 1, is even more plain and pure and preciouser that it's a religion because of what it talks about before. He's talking about people who aren't listening to Joseph Smith. Who could that be? All these pronouns. I'm sure it's LGBTQIAPO+. They're changing pronouns. And so these people who follow Joseph Smith, or not follow him, actually, and then he uses cut off from verse 40 in the second vision, they have strayed from mine ordinances. That's religious. So it's not applying to anybody else but this religion. They have broken mine everlasting covenant of marriage with polygamy and prostitution. And so it's not any other religion. We don't force our religion on other people. This is only for Mormons. And so Mormons don't seek the Lord. Prophecy fulfilled. You're looking for Jesus. That's not your Lord. That's an abominable Christ. To establish his righteousness. It's just one commandment. That's it. Just love. And when you love, you do good to others and help them prosper. Zion, pure in heart. But every Mormon walketh in their own way. Their own spiritual witness feelings of the image of their own Jesus. Personal Jesus. And you don't get it. Okay? And so, yeah, I had it all planned out in my head for perfection. That today you guys would be leaving. That all last week you could have been preparing to go with the bishop, and then today was the last day for you to leave before 25th nuclear holocaust. But I'm now wondering if January I have saved you yet again to prolong this. Because yes, I did notify the FBI on this too. And the FBI apparently tells those in government, Travis caught you again, so let's go to plan C. So, yeah, dear God. We'll first go over the Earthwood meteor showers for this time. They're going on right now. They are at their peak. They're at the belly of the dragon. And if you check, because it just popped into my associative memory, section 85, it talks about the truth of the belly. My associative memory is awesome. So the one mighty and strong, the Jewish Christ, Deuteronomy 18:15, holding the scepter of power in his hand, I'm not going to hold it in my hand the whole time. The staff of Moses. I've been using it as a prop for years. And instead, I only get the occasional elderly woman who sees it and panics and goes, "That's the serpent of Lucifer." You never went to church and heard about Moses and the serpent staff, or see the Prince of Egypt and the serpent staffs? You don't understand that the medical symbol is two serpents? Come on, people. Because nobody wants to judge me by my fruit, and so since you're a sign seeker, I give you the signs that you want, so that you will know who I am. Because you're not going to judge me by my fruit and accomplishments. So I give you the signs, and you still don't believe. And you're still an adulterer. Just like the Danites. Clothed with light for a covering. Hey, I'm wearing the white one today. Just like verse 4, or the second vision. Notice I'm at my bedside. Another sign for you. You're not supposed to be looking for the signs, but signs follow them that believe. And so I'm testing you to see who's a sign seeker and who gets their faith confirmed, as they judge me by my fruit. Whose mouth shall utter words. Can't shut me up. Eternal words. I did that video the other week, explaining how using science to run tests for confirmation, 3 confirmation establishes a fact, and if it can be repeatedly, you've established an eternal law. I am giving you eternal laws. Signs in the heavens and the likeness of things on earth are an eternal law. Ursid meteor showers. They happened. Boom. Eternal law. I revealed the day and the hour of the Ursid meteor showers in that picture. And they happened. Boom. Not complicated. Not complicated. But the belly of the dragon. Not this belly. While his bowels, belly, shall be a fountain of truth. And so thus the fall of the great and abominable church is what we're waiting for. All of that chart, I've been telling you, it's all talking about the same thing. The fall, the transfer of authority, exodus to Zion, building Zion. If the church doesn't fall, we're all doomed. And Mormons just want to be fence sitters and accuse others of being black. It was so mean. Michael Che, come on. She was right there. And you had her husband. That was mean. It's every father's worst nightmare. What do you mean that's not my baby? I thought you loved me. I thought you were committed in a relationship, and you cheated on me. I died that day. And so, yeah, to set in order the temple, arranged by lot the inheritances. You've got to be in that bishop's list. That's the book of the law. And so it was just hilarious last year, before Thanksgiving. Nelson rushes out the book of the law, which is the Danite ledger of the secret combination financing that was the Judas price to murder Joseph and to get Brigham Young to this valley to establish his kingdom. And they claim that Section 119 is therefore true. No. See, Mormons read still small voice in verse 6 and go, what's that? I have no idea what that is. Weird. And so, yes, the Ursid meteors there was something about Ursids. I think I've already transferred the file. So I noticed that I'm being left alone with the video recording. So we'll see if this can hold out. Maybe my video this morning shut him up. All right. Any plantigrade carnivore of the family Ursidae? Yeah. And so, bear, pandas, yeah, it's a bear family. Interesting. Bears, falling stars from the belly of the dragon. Interesting. Very interesting. And so that brings to mind Elishua, I think, not Elijah, or was it Elijah? Where they're mocking him for being a bald head. Prophecy fulfilled. And so then bears come out and maul the kids. The misunderstood story of bear attacks a bald prophet. You misunderstood it. Elisha, which is actually Elishua. Our English corrupts the original Hebrew, even though Shua is the biblical Hebrew, or the Septuagint Greek, which is also the biblical Hebrew, to turn the biblical Hebrew text into a multi-personality disorder. But anyway, yeah, Elishua, who likewise is me. He's the one that appeared to Joseph Smith and Kirtland temple. Section 110. Everybody thinks it's Elijah. No, it's Elishua. You got to follow it through. It's an error in the text because it talks about the gospel of Abraham, and the gospel of Abraham is salvation, the gospel of salvation from the book of Abraham that Joseph Smith wrote. So that's what it was meant to be. Elishua, not Elijah, as Elias, the Greek form. Alrighty, are we done with this initial stuff so that we can get to the new stuff? Yeah, but the moon is on the shoulders of Virgo. And what is that? In the Venus is in the belly of the goat based. Ooh. And Saturn's still being cleansed. It's got a lot of purification to go through. Mercury is now bending the knee to the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, the great high priest, God on his throne. Hilarious. And the sun is at the top of the arrow, shooting arrows, and sure enough, Ursids and Comagbernicids, which are no longer at their peak. I did that video before retirement, or for the vacation time of 3 days. And then December Leonis Minorids, did that one. The Cancrids, they're in January when they peak. But there's Mars and the Scorpion, the belly of the serpent. Did you see this? The Ursids are in the belly of the dragon. Mars, Nelson, is in the belly of the serpent. Cancrid, Cancer, Crab. Venus, the church, is in the belly of the goat beast. Hilarious. And so Mercury is bowing the knee. So you gotta make sure that you're doing the right one, because anciently religion and government were the same. Not anymore. So if you're going to do government interpretation, you need to know who the players are for government. If you're doing religious interpretation, you got to make sure Nelson is Mars and Oaks is Venus, and so that would make Irene Mercury. Those were the ones in Revelation chapter 12, verse 1, 2, and 5's sign in the heavens in the likeness of things on the earth. Mercury, Venus, and Mars were those planets in Leo the Lion, on the top of the head of Virgo. I'm Jupiter. I'm also for the government as Jupiter. And so Saturn seems to be the president of the Quorum of the 12. Even though he's an acting president. Because that's when Ballard died. Saturn as the symbol. Plus other stuff for a sign in the heavens and the likeness of things with his death. So it's just all fascinating stuff. Mormons don't believe. Alrighty. So let's get to some news stuff. Since you're not interested in listening to my news segments. So we'll start with the vote that happened on Friday. The news, oh my God, they say that it was passed at the last minute. No, it was passed about 15 minutes late. The government was shut down for about 15 minutes. But it's at midnight. Nobody's working anyway. The news can't even get that right. And then you got George Stephanopoulos, who gets sued by Trump and loses over a minor technicality. A rape is a sexual assault, but a sexual assault can be more stuff than just rape. But if you understand the definition non-legal as a rape, because there's a song where the guy screams, "Rape me!" And other people who refer to rape in the context of other things, like an emotional rape or a mental rape, or used in the terms of being robbed. We've been raped. And so when you understand that people's alteration of definitions only protects those of us in the civilian realm, but where George Stephanopoulos' news he can't make that kind of claim. I can, and I did. But not George Stephanopoulos, who's a press employee for a company where he's licensed to do that. And so, yeah, just don't even get me going on the evils of psychology that have infiltrated everything in our society, thus the news. They don't give the news anymore. It's factual evidence reporting. And instead, they want people's emotional responses. They want to do discussion panels of their opinions and their feelings, and they all want to be validated. That's not news. And then poll data. Oh my hell. They know it's small sampling, but they still keep doing it. Unbelievable. And so, yeah, good for Trump for suing over poll data. But Trump wants the poll data to go in his favor. That's what he's suing about. Not that poll data is a fraudulent practice being used to threaten and manipulate those in government office making decisions. And that's why Trump is suing right before he becomes president. So, yeah, after today, it's Christmas is the next stuff. So, anyway. And so the House, yeah, all the Mormons who voted against it, which were only 34 in the House, they were Mormon. I checked the list. There was a news source that gave the list of those responsible for wanting to shut down the government. And they were Mormons from Arizona, Idaho, Utah, Mormons. Mormons were ordered by this church to shut down the government. Didn't I tell you that in the beginning? Yeah, I did. And it happened. Again, demonstrating I'm a prophet. I've done the research. And so, yeah, I caught Lee's statement in the Senate saying, no, we can't pass this. No, this is awful. We need to shut down Social Security. We need to let Russians move to Utah to mine the uranium mines. Just a dumbass. And he was on Fox getting interviewed talking about how Elon Musk should be the Speaker of the House. He's a Danite. This is why they're doing what they're doing. They're ordered by the church. They have to be loyal to the church. They were told what to do, and they're doing it. And so if the other members of the government aren't going to do it right, the church is going to be pissed. Because they've bribed and compromised all of them to do the bidding of the church. And so, when you read, which nobody did, the bill, it's now going to be abusive to we the people. You know, Chuck Schumer got up and said, oh, this is great, Social Security protected for veterans and for those who've worked to build America, blah, blah, blah. Social Security is still going to fail in 10 years. But that's 10 years. there's some other damages that were done, and that once it takes effect, people are going to notice it. And then they're going to go, hey, what are you doing? Why is this change being done? Well, the Congress approved, it's the law, sorry. Bleep you. What? Exactly. And it'll be mostly Trump voters who will suffer. But Trump will make sure to blame Biden for it, so that they blame Biden for it. So that it wasn't Trump. He tried to shut it down. Even though he got up and praised the second version at the last minute. But nonetheless, they also forgot to raise the debt ceiling. Oops. They're on vacation for the rest of the year. The debt ceiling was only extended in 2023 to the end of this year. So January, boom, America goes bankrupt. That's their little ploy that they pulled. So that you got Mormons who are voting against it, and then they can say, well, yeah, we voted against it. Just, dear God. And so there will be programs across this nation that are not going to get funding anymore. And people are going to go, wait a minute, where's the funding? What? What do you mean, Congress? Exactly. And so that's where it's interesting that instead of the government being shut down for Christmas, government's extended, but the debt ceiling now is in danger. And the debt ceiling ends for New Year's. New York apple falls, and boom, America goes bankrupt. And so that's why I'm curious that you've been given an extra week. So that Christmas, they can prove that I'm not a prophet. Travis is false. And then do it on New Year's. But I've been showing you the picture from George Albert Smith. That's how I knew about Christmas. Hello, guys, are you not that bright? Really? You aren't? Okay. Okay. I've been telling you the whole time. Christmas or New Year's, that's what he said. Quoting, as he says, George Albert Smith came to his ward. That's the picture. That's why I keep putting it in. So that you can see, if it's not going to be Christmas, it's going to be New Year's. This is their plot. He knows about the plot because he's the one pulling the puppet strings. The Danites are the ones in charge of the plot. They told Thomas B. Marsh, and Thomas B. Marsh wrote it in the affidavit. They're going to overthrow the government in the latter days. They're the enemy. And yet, they got away with it this whole time, even though they got shut down by the United States in 1887, fooling Mormons. And so, yeah, we're in great trouble, guys. You're not paying attention. Okay. So I can throw that away. And so, international students are being told to come home before Trump takes over on January 20th. They're not thinking of a nuclear strike. And I found more that can be added to that video that I did about every confirmation of a nuclear attack on America. But Mormons aren't thinking in the big picture. Because it's not just Americans, students, but it's all Americans that need to come back. Well, not all American students. Because students, if America falls under Trump, which it will, if it doesn't fall as planned with a nuke, students are going to be stranded in the foreign countries. And they're only there for the schooling. They're not citizens, so they would be in great jeopardy. Thus why, come home, and if you want to move to another country, do that after with your family. But nonetheless, what about the missionaries, Mormons? You don't think about them, do you? I was the one who thought about them for 2020, not Nelson. And then Nelson did it, but begrudgingly. And so when Nelson did it, I then did the Heber C. Kimball's a test is coming. They fall right into my trap every time, like the dumbasses. Posing as FLDS. They hear me say I run tests. And yet they think they're smarter than me because they know computer cyber terrorism and I don't. And thus their weakness is exploited by me. It has not made their strength. You have to be righteous for that to happen. And Mormons never get it. They never learn. And so yes, missionaries must come home. And I'm wondering if I should do that video again. That title, Missionaries Come Home. I've already got it on this paper. Because we're still thinking about the title and the theme song in the description below. I'm wanting to watch, I finished Blue Bloods yesterday. I love that show. And so, yeah, I was fully ingrained in it. Whereas Heroes, I was like, ugh. I was only watching for the hot chicks on the show. Which, Hayden, she's had some kind of a Hollywood tragedy where she's not doing anything anymore because nobody wants her. And so there's some issues with that. But yeah, she did a good job acting. I don't know why nobody wants her anymore. Stupid. But anyway. So yeah, I'm now wanting to watch something else, and I'm going over my mind. I want to focus on a movie series or a show that has a female as the main character. So I'm going through my mind, which one? In Plain Sight, the forensic investigator woman, or Rosalian Isles. There's a double shot of women, or others that have a male and female. I've been watching Moonlighting, but I have 2 more seasons to purchase, and it's unclear if I'll be able to purchase them if New Year's there's the nuke, so I won't have any spending opportunity in January. But I'm going over my mind, Bones or Castle. Which one should I watch? Still thinking about it. Oh yeah, the Bourne girl, the creators of Bourne, did a spy TV series, Sarah Connor Chronicles. That's also another option. Do a Terminator marathon and include the Chronicles in its chronological order. Yeah, that's an idea. It's an idea. You know, Die Hard, yeah, it's been there, done that. Numerous times throughout the year. Die Hard, it's not just for Christmas anymore. But that's a guy thing, daddy-daughter thing in number 4? Or 3. No, 3, because there's only 4. Yeah. And then he did the Die Hard battery commercial. It was awesome. Awesome. But anyway. And so another thing with this is that Biden and Harris are in D.C. They're not going to their home state. Their home in their home state. Because something happened. We're not being told what. It's being kept a secret. Biden apparently was in the Naval Hospital, or is in the Naval Hospital still. We know he's on his deathbed. And whether or not he'll make it till January 20th, it's unclear. But like I warned you, with the nuclear attack, Biden being at the White House, getting nuked. And apparently, I was a prophet on that one, because I assumed that he would be at the White House where everybody else goes home, but he has his Delaware home still. And was planning on going to Delaware, if that's his home state, to his home there. And I just spoke what came to my mind, unless it became a prophecy. So I'm deeply concerned now that because of that it is going to happen. But nonetheless, Harris being there in D.C. also causes a concern, because this will now be an assassination of both Biden and Harris. Because when I told you before, if it's just Biden, Harris is constitutionally required to step in as president, as she's next in line, before the Speaker of the House would be Elon Musk. So says Senator Lee of Utah. But that's where you need to be careful about Lee. When you see the bigger picture, you understand what he's doing. And that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to get Musk in. And in his mind, he knows that Musk will put Trump in, but Musk is already acting as if he is the president. The U.S. Debt Clock site, a government-run site with government data on the site. And Musk has his X little gambling operation in the upper right-hand corner. And I've had to report it to Google several times now, because it used to be on Wednesdays, it would blow up on the screen, and you had no choice but to click on it. You couldn't see the information behind it. You couldn't close out of it or anything. And so, yeah, this is a national security threat that Musk poses. And nobody's stopping him because Trump wants him. And so this is where a nuke strike is kind of serious to pay attention to. Because if both Biden and Harris are dead, Speaker of the House then is supposed to become the president. But Trump is going to order him to just say, just make me the president. I was duly elected by AI. And he's supposed to cave. If he doesn't, he better protect himself immediately upon taking office as president, because he only has until the 20th, and then Trump's going to have him murdered next to Mike Pence. Poor Mike Pence, how he hath fallen. He believed Jesus told him that he was going to be the president someday. And that's why he was the vice president, even though Trump is a heathen. And so there were numerous times where he's thinking, Trump is going to die with all of his fast food, with his gluttony. Trump is going to get locked up in prison, and I'll have to take over. They're going to do the 27th Amendment to disqualify Trump, and I'll be the president. And in the end, he again learned the devil never supports his own. As he learned Jesus didn't want him to be president. The hard way. As January 6th was going to hang him and everybody else. But they stopped. They quit. The church had it all planned out, and they quit. It was just a test run. They quit. They could have gotten away with it. Mitt Romney would have been murdered live on the security cameras rather than seen fleeing for his life. Pelosi would have had the poop smeared on her, as they would have all murdered everybody. And people don't understand that the church was in charge of all that. Oakes' confession by sweet little Jessica, Sister Jessica. And again, this is the Danite problem. They get lied to, they believe the lie, perpetuate the lie, and force the lie on other people to obey. And in so doing, they don't realize that they're leaking information that they shouldn't be leaking about the church and their plot. And so the mission president was the one who leaked it, but it was never supposed to be shown to us. It was only for the parents and the stake presidents of his missionaries from the meeting in Las Vegas. And so for Jessica to then take that and post it, Jessica is my hero. You are my hero, Jessica. And she doesn't even know I exist. But regardless, I hope she's doing well. But still, she's 24. If she's not married, she's an evil, apostate, anti-Mormon, antichrist, Cora whore, menace to society. So sad. So yeah, that's where we're at. Trump wants Mar-a-Lago to be his White House. And if it becomes a White House, I mean, seriously, other people are speculating about their war game strategy of what will happen. And you got people saying, oh, I'm not afraid of getting prosecuted. I'm not afraid of a House committee meeting on me. It's not going to be that way. It's going to be murder. It's going to be live executions. Nobody understands the real danger that is coming. Everybody thinks that Trump would not cross that line again. He's learned his lesson. Having won the election, he'll now behave. He'll stop lying. Stop leaking classified information. Dear God. I said, hang on. If it's not Christmas, it's New Year's. If it's not New Year's, I don't know how, because then January 21st, that'll be the final one, because Trump is ordered to do it, and he's already threatened to do it. Why would he lie? He keeps his threats. He doesn't keep his promises, he keeps his threats. It's a consistent pattern. Nobody seems to remember.